Oh, snap. Oh, snap. What's going on, y'all? I'm not doing the 5 minute waiting period because there's a lot going on at 8 o'clock. We got polls closing at 8 o'clock, and we have the start of the NBA draft at 8 o'clock. Normally, I wouldn't pay attention to the draft, but my boys got the number one pick, and I say my boys like I ain't a straight up front runner. If it was the Lakers, it'd be a Lakers jersey back there, and I would be saying my boys got the number one pick. So, we do what we can. We do what we can. Shout out to KP. Shout out to KP. Thank you so much for being here. Much appreciated. And I see our man Brian and Bella Fine. Shout out to Deshauna. Much appreciated. Got the Patreon link in there. Much appreciated. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to watch the video that I put out earlier today about Trump getting dragged at the World Cup, it is hilarious. I had to do a significant amount of censorship on that particular one for the way they were doing Trump at the World Cup. Make sure you check that one out after this video. And it looks like tomorrow's video that I just recorded will be addressing the reflecting pool. Now, I kind of wanted to wait till we got some people in here, but I'm gonna let it out for you guys. So I'm curious if there's any other references I could have used in that video for the way the reflecting pool looks. I got green matcha, gazpacho soup, Mountain Dew, a shamrock shake, cold broccoli cheddar soup, Shrek's lap pool, the birthplace of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Swamp Thing, where they got the slime from You Can't Do That on Television, a classic show from my childhood on Nickelodeon. It looks like a public pool. It looks like a gas station bathroom. It looks like the home of the Hulk. It looks like the home of Kermit the Frog. It looks like the pool that kills Superman because it's filled with kryptonite. That reflecting pool is the Grinch that stole a National Mall. That's where the Wicked Witch of the West landed. It looks like Emerald City. That was the original green monster out here looking like the Statue of Liberty. When did the reflecting pool win the Masters? Because it's out here in a Masters green jacket. And we know Trump did that on purpose because he got the reflecting pool looking like the color of money. Now, that's what I got. That's what I got. Y'all let me know. He said Gaza. Hey, just Jay, you trying to get us slapped down here now? Oh, lime jello. Now that's a good one. Lime jello. Dubai chocolate? Is Dubai chocolate green? Let me put that in. Lime jello. I'm going to put Godzilla on there, even though I know we can't do it. Dubai chocolate. You could have been referencing something completely different, Bank 8, and I'm just going to assume that that's what it is. It is? Lil Rose said Dubai chocolate is green? That's nuts. That's nuts. And did y'all see the dude who was responsible for the renovation? See, that just goes to show you Jolly Green Pool. All right. Jolly Green Pool. That's good. Jolly Green Pool. That's good. That Mucinex guy? Oh, was that a Mucinex? Okay. That's pretty good too. It's filled with pistachio cream. All right. Pistachio cream. The Green Hornet. That's a good one. Green Rancher. Donald Dump's. All right. Green Hornet. Green Ranger. Green Jolly Rancher. That's pretty good too. Trump's bathroom. I did have a gas station bathroom on there, so that might be a slime green. I got slime green from You Can't Do That on Television. I do have that. They still showing footage of the Knicks. Hey, show me footage of the Knicks when they go to the White House. Let's show me that. Dumpster juice. Hey, when I was in college, when I was in Toxic Crusaders, that's different than Swamp Thing, isn't it? Toxic Crusaders. When I was in college, I used to drink 40 ounces. I had a friend of mine that would tell me to put down the bum juice. I was like, bum juice. Oh, put down the bum juice. There goes Reese and his bum juice. That's that's the level of respect that I garnered when I was in college, which is why if y'all saw that Hunter Biden video, y'all thought I was playing when I said I've been there. I ain't playing. I ain't playing. Yoda's outhouse. That's pretty funny. Melania sauce. I don't get it. You're gonna have to help me with that one. Yoda's outhouse. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. By the way, we got a code today. The code today is Draft Night 623. Draft Night 623. All one word. That is buy one, get one 40% off. Draft Night 623. We got, my freeish shirt I got on right now is new on the site. We also got the green freeish. That's the one. You'll see that one tomorrow on the video. You'll see that one tomorrow. The green. Is there green Mad Dog 2020? Is there green? Ain't no green Mad Dog. You lying. Now why would you? Ain't no such thing as that. Why? Hey, ain't no such thing as that. The reflecting pool reminds me of the Ecto Cooler juice boxes that has. Oh, it's Ecto Cooler in the Ghostbusters. Yeah. Ecto Cooler Ghost. Wasn't it a green ghost that was in the Ghostbusters? I'm pretty sure it was a green ghost that was in the Ghostbusters. Is it Green for Loco? Shout out to Denatra. Yeah, we did start a few minutes ago. It does seem like we've been going for on the green key lime pie. Key lime pie, that's pretty good. That's good. That's good. I'm gonna have to give y'all a shout out. Irish pub. Okay, Slimer. That's who I thought it was. Slimer from Ghostbusters. Yeah, Slimer from Ghostbusters. Yeah. Okay. There we go. That's pretty good. Y'all are good at this. Y'all are gangrene. That's good. That's good. Too soon. Too soon. That hurts. We going through it right now. We going through it right now, Left for Reese. That's Oh, the Wizards picking. I hope they trade this pick because I don't want to be wrong. Trade down. Get Utah to trade you number one so they get AJ, or just take AJ and then trade him when they take Peterson, so you get some extra. Why are they showing Kwame Brown? Why would you do that to us? Why are they showing Kwame? Why would they do that to one of them? You know, why would they show Kwame Brown? That's a booger pool. That's funny. That's pretty funny. Shout out to you, Allison. Shout out to you. You see it traded to Indiana. What y'all got? We all drafted. I can go with gastric green. I can do that. Yeah. Gastric green. All right. After this Wizards pick, then we're gonna go see what they're talking about with the votes. Sonics revenge. Oh, see, I'm thinking about the Supersonics. They're gonna take Peterson. They're gonna take Peterson, and they're gonna let Utah. I don't want Utah to get I don't want them to get the player that they want. I just want to ruin somebody else's dream. That's what I'm here for. Hey, shout out to Seattle, Dread. Shout out to Seattle. I'm just here. I'm here to ruin somebody else's dream. You know? Shout out to Kristen and Deshauna. Shout out to lovely Nola. Credit to the Mod Squad. Shout out to all you guys. They really gonna take the whole 5 minutes? Y'all know who y'all wanted to pick. Y'all got the number. Oh, they trying to trade it. That's why. That's why they taking so long. On a cleaner note, Tornado Sky Green. That is a cleaner note. Thank you, Kay, for cleansing the timeline. Thank you very much for cleansing the timeline. That's funny. That's funny. Nola, y'all so trash, and y'all can't. Let it go. Just let it go. Hey, at least they gave us King Cake Baby. I love King Cake Baby. They did give us the greatest mascot in sports is King Cake Baby. So y'all gave us that. Who traded to the Pacers? Okay, the pick is in. They taking Peterson. They taking Peterson. I know they taking Peterson. Heat lifer. See, I don't understand that Giannis trade. I don't understand. Y'all gonna be trash. Not trash. Yeah, you're not gonna be trash, but you gutted the team. And your Robin needs to play in the post. And bam. Like, from a lifestyle standpoint, I can't say why would you go to Miami, because obviously that's a different lifestyle than you used to in Milwaukee. So I give you that one. But don't act like you're trying to win. That team, hey, it's going to be Bam, Giannis, and a rotating guards from the rec league, from the Miami rec league. I ain't hating. I'm just saying, I don't understand. I guess I get why Miami would do it, because they get a marquee player and they were going nowhere before. So I guess I get why Miami would do it. I don't get why Giannis would want to go there other than being in Miami. I don't. How is that better than Milwaukee? I don't think it's even better than Milwaukee. Bam is better than anybody he has in Milwaukee. Fair enough. But he had a better complement of players in Milwaukee than he has in Miami right now. That's my view. Nancy, thank you so much, Nancy. If you receive Nancy's gift, show her some love in the chat. Thank you very much, Nancy. Did you ever do a video on Alexi Lawless, the worst soccer and sports broadcaster ever? Dave, shout out to you. I wouldn't do a video all about Alexi Lawless because I don't think people are that interested in Alexi Lawless, but I did my second video on the World Cup today, and I'm definitely not done. Yeah, I'm looking for other angles to get into about the World Cup. So, and I can definitely, slide through and hit Alexi Lawless. Because, like on my video today where I was talking about MAGA media, Alexi Lawless definitely could have been in there. But that video, I had to cut that video down to get it under 40 minutes. And we was running. And I was trying to get that Father's Day ending in there, and I couldn't. That's like 4 minutes. I didn't want the video to be that long. Who they take? Who they take? Oh, they took AJ. They took AJ. All right. 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 I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Y'all keep saying it. Green Thumb. Now, Green Thumb is an interesting one. Green Thumb is an interesting one. Ah, man. They took AJ. That's good. All right, that's good. Now, see how badly Utah wants him. See how bad Utah wants him. All right. Bro, Peterson didn't even visit Utah. He just went to watch it. He did not want to go to Utah. Oh, that's funny. He did not want to go to Utah. Man, I guess I can't, he's not alone in that regard. All right. They took AJ. I'm glad. The Wizards might be decent next year. I don't even know how to handle that. I don't even know how to handle the Wizards if the Wizards are decent. I've been doing the Wizards are trash jokes for 2 decades. I've been doing the Wizards are trash jokes. Okay. I don't even know how to handle that. I have to, if the Wizards become good, I have to start another channel. Redefining myself. When you have to find yourself again, I'm gonna have to start another channel about finding myself again. I am. Wow. Say a Bucks fan since 70 needs something else to work with. Okay with the trade. The Bucks did good. Okay. The Bucks could have gotten a lot more had they traded him earlier. They just waited too long and they didn't get. They definitely screwed up. They still have a lot of assets in Miami. And I think they were right to take Miami over Boston. Because what are you going to do with Jaylen Brown? Now you just have a worse player that you can't build around. So, respect to Jaylen Brown. But the point being, y'all ain't ready to compete. Y'all ain't ready to do nothing. So they took the right trade. They screwed it up by waiting too long, but they took the right trade. Good for Giannis, or good for Miami, I guess, that they got Giannis, but I don't know what y'all about to do. Hey, not tonight. Not tonight. We're not doing the Wizards are trash tonight. We just got AJ. So you put some respect on our name. You put some respect on our name. Hey, the Wizards have been out here. The Wizards been out here looking like Trump's reflecting pool. I don't know why I'm saying 2 decades like they were good in the 90s. Let me tell you. So the Wizards used to play in PG County, which is where I'm from. They used to play in PG County, Maryland, at a place called the Cap Center. We would pass the Cap Center. The Capitals used to play there too. We would pass the Cap Center, and it'd be people outside. You know how when you go to the strip mall, when you walk in the strip mall, it'd be people outside on the sidewalk that's trying to convince you to come in. They'd be giving you all types of flyers and stuff like that. Trying to get you a deal so you would come in. That's how they used to be outside of the Cap Center. That's exactly how they used to be standing outside the Cap Center trying to get passersby and motorists passing by to come through. You remember, the little wind things, like the little wind guy who blows around. He'd be out in front of the gas station. They had one of those. They had one of those. Yeah, that's how bad it was. On Sundays after church, everybody goes to IHOP, and then if you are too late and IHOP is too crowded and you don't get a seat, then you go watch the Wizards game. That's kind of like your backup. Or sometimes they would have people wait in the Wizards game, like, they give you that little buzzer and you wait to your number get called. You go sit in the Cap Center and watch the Wizards while you wait to get buzzed. Although, anybody that knows they were not the Wizards at it. They were the Bullets. So I don't know nothing about no Wizards. We were Bullets. Hey, family, can somebody catch me up with the 76ers? They ain't done nothing. I'll be honest. I think Boozer's going to be a bust. That's just my. They took Peterson. Okay, all right. I think Boozer's going to be a bust. I'm just. The man went to Duke. Number one. The man went to Duke. Number one. Not that Duke hasn't turned out some terrific pros. Jason Tatum and whatnot. They have. Their bust rate though. Their bust rate though is off the charts. So you telling me a big man who went to Duke with a shaky jump shot who couldn't score against larger athletic players, who's limited himself athletically? Not me. Nah. Not unlike Carlos, but it's a completely different game than Carlos was playing. Completely different game than Carlos was playing. So, what's my take on the Timberwolves trade? I'm not sure the detail. I know they traded Randall. I thought it was a bit reactionary to trade him just based on how he was in the playoffs, although he was buns in the playoffs. But for salary purposes, I can't be mad at it. You're trying to build around Ant and take advantage of his prime years. Thank you, RSLS. I appreciate you. Thank you. I very much appreciate you. How is it a wild Duke take? How is that a wild Duke? That's a given. Everybody knows Duke got the highest bust rate. Everybody knows that. That's like Ohio State quarterback. Come on. Everybody knows. I'm not saying that everybody's a bust, but the percentage that you would be a bust is like triple any other school. You want to count the other way? You want to count the other way? And I love that you included Zion and a man in Paolo Banchero who people were calling the least improved player in the NBA before the last month. That's who you had to include in your case. Come on, man. Come on. What are we doing here? Oh, now we talking about Terrell Pryor. I didn't mean to start that. You said Christian Laettner. Yeah. Y'all trash. Y'all trash. You got to own that. You got to own that. You go to Duke to have a wonderful college experience. You go to UNC if you want to be a good pro. We all know that. Come on. Why y'all acting like it's y'all first time here? Come on. You want to go have fun at the frat parties, you go to Duke. You want to slide through Durham, you go to Duke. Like the big man on campus, you go to Duke. You want to go to the NBA, you go to Kentucky. Come on. What Duke want to do with Kentucky? What are we talking about? Don't do that. No, don't do that. Y'all better than that. Y'all better than that. Don't do that. All right. Let's see what's going on with these elections here. Because we are doing double duty today. Steve Kornacki. Oh, they're doing Maryland. Okay. Let's do it.
Landslide margin, but she clearly did better in the early vote in the two big component counties here than Trone. But we got a ton of vote to come. If the Trone vote is better on election day by 5 or 6 points in these places, he reverses that easily. So that quickly becomes, and Adam, you know how this goes. I'll start asking you over and over again if we've got election day vote, same day vote. But when we start getting our next updates right here in Montgomery County and right here in Frederick County, that's going to be the question. Does it look different? 43-37 for Delaney and Frederick. She's leading it by 6. When we start getting those same day badges, is she still leading it? Is she leading it by more? Has Trone actually pulled ahead in the election day vote? Is he winning it by double? That's going to be the question that decides this thing. But again, that means about a third of the vote, about a 5-point margin there for Delaney over Trone. That is raw votes. That's a margin of about 800 right there. So this is interesting. I'm just going to check back on the 5th to make sure we didn't miss anything more there. But this is obviously an incumbent member of Congress here who's in some degree of danger right here. I mentioned the cost in this campaign. And again, I said the residency is interesting because both of these candidates, Delaney and Trone, live in Montgomery County. They both live in Potomac in Montgomery County, which is like right here. It's not actually in the district. You don't have to live in the district. You only have to live in the state. So you could live anywhere in a state, and you're technically eligible to run in any congressional district in that state, as long as you live within the state. So both of these candidates actually live in Montgomery County, but outside of the Montgomery County portion of this district. I'll probably just leave this one up for a minute. Again, the 5th district, it's a clear advantage here for Boafo. Everything, again, the election day vote, just the only question here in the 5th district is, and I don't know why it would be, but would the election day vote look dramatically and consistently different? It would probably have to be Berebe's favor here over Boafo. But those are, these are not landslide numbers, but those are very solid numbers. And unless something changes dramatically in the election day vote, we said he was probably the front runner going in. He's certainly looking like it right now. So we'll park this right here for a second. It is 8:23. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time.
All right. So by the way, Boafo, that's like my home district. Y'all know I live in DC, so they just have us show up just for, for giggles. You know what I mean? We show up like I used to show up to the parties in high school. Don't nobody know we there. You know what I mean? I'm just there to check a box. That's my actual representation. But my home representation is actually Boafo. And, Croyville, Apparently, what you need to know about Maryland is how y'all gonna embarrass me out here. Thank you, Raider Nomad. I appreciate you keeping us up on game. Shout out to you. How Maryland gonna embarrass me out here? It was bad enough last week when we had DC and they hadn't registered any votes by the time that I got off air. An hour and a half after the polls closed, 2 hours after the polls closed, they ain't registered any votes in DC. I don't know if they fell into the reflecting pool and disintegrated or what. That's what DC did last week. Now, this week, you mean to tell me that my home state of Maryland dictates that you only have to live in the state? What kind of bull is that? What kind of bull? You don't even have to live in the district? Imagine if you didn't have to live in the country. You can be president. You don't live in the state and you can be senator. So why does it work for a congressman? That don't make any sense. Come on. That is absolutely preposterous to have somebody representing. Now, it's one thing if you move outside of the district while you're representing them, I could maybe I could work with you on that one. But you running and you, come on, man. Come on. You know, man, they just embarrass you. They just embarrass you. DC and Maryland embarrassing me. Respectfully, because I know I had a lot of Duke slander. I had a lot of Duke slander, and I stand by my Duke slander. Respectfully, Carlos Boozer won. I'm just do with that what you will. Do with that what you will. Carlos Boozer won. Now I'm gonna move on because I'm gonna keep it respectful. Timberwolves can easily tell you about a Duke bus. Just ask them about Christian Laettner. 1,000%. 1,000%. Now, I guess if we're talking Timberwolves, then I gotta, in the interest of full disclosure, they also took my boy Joe Smith, number one, overall. So, well, yeah, it's rough. It's rough out there. It's rough out there in Minnesota. So, it's rough out there in Minnesota. You said they can't be gerrymandering. That's a good thing. I guess that is kind of anti-gerrymandering, huh? If you could just, I mean, no, you still can. You still can, because it's more so about where, you know, if they're still going to limit the amount of Democrats that's in a particular jurisdiction, then that's still going to make it more difficult for any Democrats to get elected. So that helps fight it. But that doesn't. Hey, Night Watchman. Yeah. All right. Now we but
up here again, we're in Manhattan. You heard me talk about this a little bit with Gotti. This is Jerry Nadler, long-serving Democrat, elected back in '92. This is his district that he is retiring from. He has endorsed Michael Lasher, who is from the Upper West Side of Manhattan. You're talking like right here. Lasher is a state legislator representing that part of the district. Mike Bloomberg has endorsed Lasher. This district is interesting. Again, we're using Mamdani as a bit of a gauge here from that mayoral campaign last year. Mamdani did, in the primary, relatively speaking, this was not a good district for Mamdani. Andrew Cuomo actually got more votes than Mamdani did in the Democratic primary in this district. It's a very Democratic district, but it's not like a Mamdani-flavored Democratic district. So Lasher running like with the Bloomberg endorsement, that's actually, probably somewhat potent here. Alex Boris, again, he's a state legislator from the Upper East Side, right? It used to be that the East Side and the West Side had different congressional districts in Manhattan. No longer. This was, Nadler was forced into a primary with Carolyn Maloney. Nadler was West.
Okay, a couple things I wanted to clean up. So Croyville said his name is Boozer. He can't ever call that a win. I think he can, because if you remember when he got caught with the Beijing, where the Beijing was shining off his head, I don't think any man has done as well as Carlos Boozer has post Beijing. You know what I mean? Maybe if Byron wins the governorship, maybe Byron could see Boozer when it comes to, the final boss of Beijing. Final boss of Beijing has been Carlos Boozer forever. Byron Donalds is pulling up on his bumper, but you got to put some respect on Carlos Boozer's name for what he's established for Beijing Americans. That's thorough. What I'm seeing right there is thorough. That's unbelievable. Now I want to ask you, Quest Reborn. I have heard some discontent about Brave Boy. What's your what's exactly the issue with Brave Boy? Now, I'm not saying that like, how dare you? No, I'm like out of curiosity because I ain't been following her like that. So you let me know, put me up on game. Welcome, Lee Jackson. Welcome. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Welcome to Chicago. I think Caleb gonna be good. Hey, look at this. Hey, top 5 picks from North Carolina the last 30 seasons. Anton Jameson, Vince Carter, Marvin Williams, that didn't work out. Raymond Felton, and Caleb. That's 3 out of 4. Vince is a Hall of Famer. Anton is not he should not go to Hall of Fame, but he might. They put a lot of people in the NBA Hall of Fame. But Anton Jameson, longtime veteran. Raymond Felton, longtime veteran. And Marvin Williams. That's 3 out of 4. Dude, what y'all talking about? Huh? You want to tell me about Trajan Langdon? What? Huh? What y'all want to do? Dude? Why am I starting a Duke UNC fight in June?
Leadership in Harlem to come through for him. Well, we just told you the story of this. This guy's career was sort of made by running against the black political establishment in Harlem. So can he get bailed out essentially by folks he was politically fighting with in very important years in his political career? That's one of the dynamics tonight. What Avila Chevalier is going to be relying on, I think, is there's also a lot of gentrification in this district. And a lot of those new residents, younger, college educated, super progressive, plugged into politics. And I think the recipe potentially, we'll see tonight, for Avila Chevalier, if she were to win this tonight, think of how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won her seat in 2018 when she knocked off Joe Crowley, right? Longtime Democratic congressman, different district, not too far away. Very low turnout. And that base, the kind of base I was just describing that Avila Chevalier has, that base, amidst very low turnout, was able to deliver a monster upset for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez over Joe Crowley back in 2018. Could something like that happen in this district? And again, given Espaillat's sort of tangled relationship with the black leadership class in this district, how much interest is there in the old guard in terms of, getting out there and helping Espaillat and voting for him and things like that? It's an interesting question. So again, that's an incumbent member of Congress. The mayor of New York City is trying to take him out in this primary. This is the candidate he's trying to do it with. Adam, still nothing in Maryland, right?
That's right.
Okay. So again, we expect numbers very fast in those New York City-based districts. There are other races in New York we want to be watching tonight. I don't think we're going to get lightning fast results in them, but I do want to set them up now anyway. One is we just went through New York City. It was 4 districts in the span of about 10 miles or so. Now we're going 5.5 miles north. We are going to one of the most sprawling districts you're going to find in the eastern part of the United States, New York's 21st congressional district. Now, this is a Republican-held district. Elise Stefanik, right? She is not seeking re-election. This is her district. Look, I mean, the sort of sweep of terrain that this district takes in here. Starting, you've got like some of the what they call like the leather stocking region, the Mohawk Valley, and then you're going all the way up to like Plattsburgh to Malone. From this point here, you're like 90 minutes to Montreal, right? It's like 90 minutes to Montreal. and then it's like 6 hours to New York City. So this is a New York race, but it's nothing at all like New York City. This is a totally different world.
Okay, while he's talking about that, and by the way, shout out to Quest. Quest, I saw your message about Brave Boy placing her cronies and friends in high positions, and a lot are unqualified. The way things are running is a mess. The director of my agency got fired in the first 2 weeks or no reason. Okay, yeah, that's kind of okay. Fair enough. That's a kind of what I've been hearing about her. I have a question to Muse Guru. I'm assuming you live in New York, Muse Guru. I have a question for you because when I was in New York, there was obviously there definitely was. I think Keaton Wagler going to be a bust. I'm sorry. No, bust. See, now it look like I'm against the light skins. If I go against Boozer, I go against Wagler. Now all of a sudden it's a narrative. I'm against the light skins. All right, I'm gonna let you rock, Wagler. I'm gonna let you rock, but only so they don't say I'm against light skins. But begrudgingly. Nah, I'm not for the dude that wasn't highly touted and goes to college and is crafty. Nah, hey, craft. You can be crafty when you James Harden in your 15th year in the league. You can be crafty. Don't be coming into the NBA and crafty is nah. Hey, I got a question for you, Muse Guru. So when I was in New York, there was gentrification that were pushing a lot of native New Yorkers further out away from the city. And then there was a real push to, take back like the city, like take back Manhattan. Like, so they were, they're basically pushing Black and brown communities and lower income communities outside of Manhattan. And then when they go to outer boroughs, pushing them further out to the fringes of the outer boroughs. And my thought on that was, there's a limit to how far you can push people because the city relies upon so many people having access to Manhattan, so many people having access to the heart of New York. If all of a sudden you start moving people to the fringes of access or beyond access, how does your city continue to function if you completely disregard these people's lifestyle and ability to access work and resources? That's my question for you, Muse Guru. I haven't been in New York in a decade, so you let me know what's up. Who mom is lame? Y'all fighting in the chat? I ain't mentioned my mom, so I'm not taking it personal. I assume you're talking about somebody else's mom. But who mom is lame? Why y'all talking about moms out here? Come on. Don't do that. CP3 was crafty. That's okay. Oh, okay. Fair enough. CP3 was also one of the greatest pure point guards we've ever seen in college. You want to say that about Keaton Wagler? Huh? You want to say that about Keaton Wagler? They call CP3 the point guard. You want to say that about Keaton Wagler? Hey, you can if you want, Node. Say crafty when used wrongly is dangerous. That's true. Trump's Pampers. Green is the Chicago River on St. Patty's Day. I had seen that. I didn't know how common it was that people knew about that. Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't go with that one. But yeah, that's a fair point. Still so much land they can develop in New York. Still on the subway? That is correct. They've already pushed folks out of Manhattan, parts of Brooklyn, and the Bronx. Right. Right. So, we'll see what Mamdani does. We'll see what Mamdani does. All right.
At 9:37 p.m., Herkimer County, that is where Smolin is from. That's part of his district. 9:27, 9:59 in Fulton County. So it could be a bit of a wait in the 21st district, and that is also true in the 17th district. So I want you to know ahead of time, polls close at 9 p.m. I think we're going to get, and I hope I'm not overselling this. Boy, I've been guilty of that before. But I think we're going to get a torrent of vote in New York City. And so all those districts will just kind of live in those while we make sense of what we're seeing. And the other thing to keep in mind there too, because this happened pretty quickly. I've got the numbers on this. I can share with you. Thought I had the numbers on this. We get those first reports in, I'm still until I find the card. Here it is. Okay, right. So, I mean, look, let me go back to Maryland 6 because that's the active race right now, and I don't want to lose sight of that. We got, look, here it is. In Manhattan, borough, New York County, one of the 5 boroughs in New York City, we got 42% of all the vote reported out at 9:01 p.m. in last year. At 9:21 p.m., the next big batch came at 9:21. That took us from 42 to 55%. At 9:28, we went over 60%. By 9:38, we were at 75%. By 9:47, we were at 85%. Meaning, I think we're gonna get big batches right away, and I think we're gonna get pretty solid, steady batches. That 9 to 10 hour. If we don't get instant clarity, if there's a race, one of those 4 New York City races we're talking about, if we don't get instant clarity in that quick initial batch, I think within the hour, within 45 minutes perhaps, we should know. And if it's still unresolved at that point, that means it's super, super tight. And then it could be a while because they do allow, the vote by mail to come in for a few days. And there's, so if we get to that situation where we get 90% in the first hour and there's still no winner, it may mean we're just not going to get a winner tonight in those districts. So I think we could get a lot of action in New York. That's certainly what I've been planning on. A lot of action there in the 9 o'clock hour. So again, that is about 17, 18 minutes away. In the meantime, to remind you, 6th district, Maryland, we're just waiting for someone to start giving us their election day vote. And we're asking the question of, does the election day vote look different than this? Because that's what it's going to take for Mr. Trone here to make that $25 million investment pay off and to get his seat back. Again, the 2 major population centers here, Montgomery County, right? You're looking at a 10-point edge for Delaney. That's the early vote. She's going to win the early vote by 10 points here. So you start looking at that same day vote. Is Trone winning that? We think this is about a third of the total vote here. It means we think there's a lot of election day vote out here. So Trone, if he's winning, if there's as much election day vote out there as we think there is, and Trone wins that vote by about 5 points, he would essentially undo Delaney's advantage with the early vote. So maybe that's a helpful gauge when we get our first election day batch from Montgomery County. Is Trone winning it? That's a sort of a baseline question. And if he's winning it, is he winning it by 5 points? He probably needs to be winning the election day vote by about 5 here, 5 or more. So maybe set that as sort of the line in a place like Montgomery County when we start getting that. The other big one, of course, as we said, this is Frederick County. And again, we think there's even more election day vote left there. We think more people, relatively speaking, voted early in Montgomery County than did in Frederick County. So we only think about a quarter of the voters in here, meaning that, Trone, again, will need to win the election day vote here, not by much. Honestly, almost any margin that he's winning the election day. But if we get an update and Trone's winning it by 2-3 points, that could certainly put him on pace to overtake Delaney and Frederick. And again, probably a little bit north of 40% of the vote is going to come out of Frederick. Close to 40 is going to come out of Montgomery. You're looking at about, You're looking at about 80% of the vote. you're looking at about 80% of the vote from these two counties. And then the only major significant real population center left would be Washington County, where Hagerstown is, and where Trone actually already did win the early vote again. And remind you what that looked like. He did win the early vote there. Probably 6-7% of all the vote in this race is going to come out of Garrett or Allegheny County. This is a district, as we say. Take a look. Harris did win this district. She won it by 5 points. Okay. Biden won it by 10 in 2020. So this is one Democrats, just given what this year is looking like politically, a midterm election for a Republican incumbent president who's in the low 40s at best in his approval rating right now. Democrats think this is the kind of district they can hold that might be competitive in a different year. But to show you in the Republican primary, this is what you're now. My gosh, Robin Ficker. Is he the guy? Do you have a second, Adam?
Yeah.
Can you look up Robin Ficker and like Washington Wizards, Washington Bullets? I may be confusing him with somebody else.
He's known for his passionate support of the Washington Wizards, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think this is the guy he's a very expressive fan. I think he got quite a bit of attention. I don't know if he still does that, but he was a very vocal fan that would frequently find his way onto television. So there you go.
Okay, that's nuts. Shout out to Steve Kornacki. He's a real one for even knowing that. Yo, Robin Ficker, the guy who's right now winning the Republican primary, was known to be a crazy fan back when I was growing up for the Bullet/Wizards, who would get himself in fake fights with Charles Barkley when he was with the 76ers and kicked out of the Cap Center. The Cap Center that I told you about, they would be escorting Robin Ficker out back in the 90s. And right now he's winning the Republican nomination. We live in crazy times. Bro, look up Robin Ficker fan. Let me see if I can look up Robin Ficker fan. Heckler extraordinaire Robin Ficker on razzing MJ and Barkley. NBA's GOAT heckler Robin Ficker talks MJ, Barkley, and more with Dan Patrick. Wow. Bullets fan Robin Ficker, a heckler who for most of the 80s and 90s sat behind the visitors' bench at the Washington Bullets games. That guy, hold up, let me see if I can find this video for y'all. Okay. Is it really the same guy? Hold up, I gotta find this for y'all. Bro. Okay, here we go. All right.
George got 9 rebounds tonight as it goes to the hoop. 6:41 to go. And the back foot rebounds. He's on the move. That is Robin Ficker, the heckler.
Evidently, I must be doing something right that they don't like.
Reading from the Jordan rules.
But in that circumstance, I use it as energy for me to continue to play hard. When they boo me, it's a challenge that...
That is Robin Ficker, the heckler.
Evidently, I must be doing something right that they don't like.
reading from the Jordan rules.
In that circumstance, I use it as energy for me to continue to play hard.
We live in crazy times, y'all. We live in some crazy times. That dude, presumably, I think is that dude. That's what Steve Kornacki told me. Steve Kornacki told me that dude is winning the Republican nomination in 2023. The guy who was known to be a crazy person in the 80s and the 90s. How old does he got to be?
Few years later. And again, Trone has spent the number I believe that's out there is $25 million of his own money. He spent a ton in the Senate race. Angela Alsobrooks is who he lost to. It was the Democratic primary for the United States Senate in 2024. He spent a ton in that. He had spent a ton the first time around, winning the seat in the first place. He defeated in 2018 and Delaney. She hasn't spent quite as much as Trone, but again. The Delaney's have some money too. So a lot's been spent here. We are inside of 10 minutes, 9 minutes and 18 seconds. The polls closing in New York. There was nothing new that's coming in the fifth, is there?
Nothing new in the fifth and the sixth. I am getting excited for the 9 o'clock New York results.
What district in New York are you most excited for?
Whichever district comes first, but I think aforementioned, because we're in the 12th, because I live in the 12th, I do feel like I've been very, tuned into the dynamics there. I get the mailers from all the candidates. They come to my house, and it's been a lot.
Yeah. Now, and I feel there's a little bit of a risk here. I was complaining to people when the Knicks won the championship. It's one of those. To me, it was a bit like, boy, is this a bit much for the national audience, right? Like. A New York team wins and it's breaking news and it's my goodness. And I'm like, when Cleveland wins, when San Antonio, do we do this? So was right. It, are we overhyping New York because you were here? But again, I think the answer is no tonight. Because again, you've got two incumbent members who are in danger of losing their seats. We've had four members of Congress lose their seats, members of the House lose their seats in primaries this year. You got two there in New York City who, if the floor fell out for them, it could happen in the next 10 minutes. So that's very significant. You've got tests on the Democratic side, as we're saying, of this sort of very left-wing energy. Again, that the rise of the Democratic Socialists of America, sort of Mamdani, his rise in New York City, trying to transfer it to these candidates, trying to team up with them. These are dynamics that I think could have an impact outside of New York City too, especially if these candidates do, if some of them have success here tonight. We've been doing these this year. We saw Anna Lilia Mejia in New Jersey, far left candidate, very similar to the folks we're talking about in New York City. She won a congressional seat in New Jersey, in the suburbs of New Jersey. We saw Chris Rabb in Philadelphia won a seat there, DSA candidate. So we've seen this in other places, and they, if you get a bunch of them winning, you start to raise the question, boy, is the national party's identity starting to get,
It's interesting that he brought up. It's interesting that he brought up the Knicks run, because he's 1,000% correct. On behalf of the rest of America, we get it. We get it. From somebody that loves New York. Like, we get it. Settle down. Settle down. Somebody win every year. Somebody win every year. Settle down. As somebody who loves the city of New York, settle down. You're not gonna believe this. Y'all not gonna believe this, New York. Y'all not gonna believe this. I know y'all not gonna believe this. It's crazy. Somebody won the championship last year. I know. You know what? Somebody gonna win the championship next year. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Somebody gonna win the championship next year. Wow. That's nuts. That's nuts. Somebody gonna win the World Series. Somebody gonna win the Super Bowl. Wow. That's nuts. We get it. We get it, New York. We get it. Settle down. I will also say that, by the way, and if you doubt New York bias when it comes to our media and definitely our sports, hey, look up Joe Namath, who I have a Joe Namath jersey, by the way. Look up Joe Namath career stats. Look up Joe Namath career stats. One of the all-time greats. Got that man on commercials and everything. Got him in a fur coat in his 70s, being on national television without a breathalyzer. Look up his career stats. My man out here, hey, Kirk Cousins is aspirational for Joe Namath. Yeah. If you think it's a game when it comes to New York bias, if you think it's a game. Oh, Night Watchman. I totally missed that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Night Watchman, shout out to you. Thank you for supporting the channel. TP, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. If you receive TP's gifts, send him some love in the chat. They're expecting a huge drop at the top of the hour, so I'm going to let Steve Kornacki take it away. But he did say, talk about the incumbents. We're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about it. You want to put yourself on equal footing with the Wizards? Is that what you want to do? If that's what you want to do, I'm not going to argue with you. If that's what you want to do, I'm not going to argue with you. You know what I mean? That's fine. And by the way, as of 2 weeks ago, it was more recent than the Knicks. The Wizards still have not as long of a streak as the Knicks had. So what you want to do, Michael? What you want to do, Michael? Huh? All right. And guess what? The Wizards win. They're not going to do none of that. He did talk about all of the incumbents that are falling by the wayside in the primaries, which I'm very interested to see. So I'll be on the lookout for that. So I'm going to let Steve take it away at the top of the hour, see what exactly we can have clarified in these particular races. And then once that happens, I'll jump in and I'll take us out. So we got some channel stuff to get into to take us out. So, all right, Steve, let him have it. Let him have it, sir.
I wouldn't turn you down, Garrett County, if you gave me numbers now. Allegheny, somebody, it's your chance. Love to get some election day vote here because, boy, this one's, if Trone is leading any of these election day updates, this gets a lot more interesting real quick. But, okay, I see 212 on that. Are these clocks? Okay. We'll leave it here for another minute. Boy, I hate to leave the suspense right here, but folks, this is a little exciting. We got some uncertainty here in Maryland 6, and we're about to get. Boy, I hope I didn't oversell this.
No, it's going to happen.
I mean, it was 901.
I have confidence.
I think it happened in both the primary and the general, right?
Yeah.
So it's just not, I think they got this stuff ready. They just got to hit the button and give us the results. I see 8. This is, we're at 95 seconds now. So I'm going to leave it here. You can see if this number. So if at 8:59 and 48 seconds, we get a Maryland 6 update, what do I do? I was posing a dilemma for you as we try to pass the time.
Well, we'll revisit it
I think I got a minute. I think if we got an update from them with like 20 seconds on that clock, we could do a quick, and then get up to New York before we miss anything. But it may not come to that because they've slowed to a halt in Maryland 6. Man, they came fast and furious, really, and really left us with a cliffhanger here. 55 seconds. All right, I'm going to actually take a little bit of water is what I'm going to do because I'm anticipating. I can drink out of this. Okay. 30 seconds. Get your bets in, folks. The polls are about to close. I shouldn't say that. People actually do bet on these things now. They got those markets, right? Jeez. All right. And we won't lose sight of New York 21. We won't lose sight of. All right, I will flip over. Maryland, you got 10 seconds. I'm going to flip as soon as this goes to 0. I'm flipping. And these, it's New York City results. They should, if they come in one district, they'll be there for all of them. 4, 3, 2, 1. 9 o'clock Eastern, folks. Polls are now closed in New York. A host of congressional races here, Democratic congressional primaries in New York City, other high-stakes House primaries across the state. Polls now closed for all of those races. And again, we expect, based on the way this went last year, the New York City districts could, and if it's the way it went last year, will report out a ton of vote within the next minute or two. And again, if you see it in one district in New York City, you're going to see it in every district because this is being reported out by the city. So if it hits one, it hits all. And so again, we can leave it here. And I think if you know, whichever one we're on, we'll know for all of them as soon as it lights up. We're on the 7th district here. Why did I pick this one? Why don't we go to the 10th? Because this is the one that's just the clearest stakes here. This is an incumbent member of Congress. We know going in all the reasons why Dan Goldman is in real trouble here. It would be, look, it'd be a massive surprise if the number that comes out here is not a big advantage for Lander over Goldman right off the bat. It would be a very big surprise, but let's see. And again, the minute that lights up, we've hit 9:01. The minute that lights up, the others start to light up. So, Adam, we made it to 9:01. Are you looking at Maryland 6?
I have an eye on Maryland 6. I have an eye on all these New York results. Nothing, no updates. Oh, we are getting some updates. We got an update in 13.
Here it is. Here it is. Okay, it's coming. Here it is, folks. Okay, wow. We just got a third of the vote. This is New York City. We're going to go through them all. Bear with me. We'll do them pretty quick. A third of the vote in the 10th district in New York City. The incumbent Democrat, Dan Goldman, trailing, being clobbered by his opponent, Brad Lander, endorsed by Zohran Mamdani, a 24-point margin. That's pretty overwhelming. The only question would be, theoretically, if the election day vote were somehow Goldman plus 15, 20 points, it would take something massive for him to reverse that. This means we're getting it elsewhere. Let's take a look at the other incumbent who we said might be in some trouble, right? Might be in some trouble right here. The 13th district. Holy cow, look at this. We're getting the early vote here in the 13th district. Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, a DSA candidate endorsed by Mamdani. She leads it, that count, over Espaillat by 76 votes, 0.4 of 1 point. Look at that in the 13th district. We'll pick that up in a second. We want to go through the rest of them. We want to go through the 7th congressional district right here. We've got the early vote again. This is Queens and Brooklyn. This was the most pro-Mamdani congressional district in New York City in last year's Democratic primary. And look at that. His candidate, the candidate he endorsed, DSA-aligned Claire Valdez, a state legislator with a 13-point advantage over the borough president, the Brooklyn borough president. Again, that's the early vote right there. That means we'll also have big chunk of early vote right here. The 12th congressional district. Here we go. About 41% of all the vote was just reported out. And there it is. As we said, these two candidates, it was expected that they had separated themselves from the rest of the pack. They've done just that. Micah Lasher, he's a state legislator from the Upper West Side who is running with the endorsement of Jerry Nadler, the outgoing, long-serving Democrat. Nadler has endorsed Lasher in this race. Lasher leading Alex Borez, a state legislator from the Upper East Side in this district, an 8-point advantage, nearly 4,000 votes for Lasher. That's a significant advantage for him. It would have to be a very, very big reversal in the election day vote there for Borez. So we just got hit with a ton. I want to make sure we didn't get anything. We didn't get anything upstate yet in the 21st congressional district. So let's go right back down here and try to break down what we just saw. And I think this is the place to start. So 26% of the vote, and it's the early vote. And again, this would be a very big upset if Chevalier were to win this. The question that immediately comes up, though, And I want to get a handy chart out that I should have written out, but this is in my notes, so bear with me. We know from 2025 that Mamdani did well with that early vote, with this first update. The election day vote, okay, the folks going out to vote today, that's what's going to be added in here. I think there's some expectation that Espaillat will do better with that. Then there's also a third thing, sort of the late arriving vote by mail. And as we saw out in California, right? Remember that primary? That was that very late arriving vote by mail in California. I think we expect will be similar here in New York. Was younger, was much more progressive, would be more favorable to a candidate like Chevalier. But what I want to get up here, Adam, do you have the chart in front of you? I'm trying to get it on my phone. You put it in the spreadsheet of the borough by borough breakdown of the early, that initial batch, the election night in the post. What was it in District 13?
I don't have a breakdown by district.
You had it?
I had it by borough.
Okay.
But one thing that is sticking out to me with this right away is inside the counties, you are seeing the split between New York and the Bronx.
Good. Yeah, that's right. So here you go. This is northern Manhattan. You know, again, this is Harlem, East Harlem, Washington Heights, Inwood, Chevalier leading by 4 there. And then you go over to the Bronx side of the river right there, and Espaillat is leading easily. Now, far more votes over here than up here. But again, I think there's an opportunity here. This is in fact, we just got some more votes here.
Yeah, we just got 2 updates. We got one in Bronx and one in New York.
Okay.
The Bronx update
put him back ahead.
Yeah, was more. It was 200 votes, and the New York update was 78 votes.
Okay, so it's a very small update. Yep. is what we got. We'll expect some bigger chunks right here. This immediately becomes the biggest source of drama. And just check me that Maryland 6, we haven't got anything.
Nothing in Maryland 6.
Okay, so we have an incumbent in Maryland 6 who's leading by 5 points, and there's some uncertainty there waiting for the election day vote. We have an incumbent in the 10th district who is in fact, there it is. Switched it just in time. NBC News has projected that Brad Lander will defeat incumbent Congressman Dan Goldman in the Democratic primary in New York's 10th congressional district. Lander is the former city comptroller in New York City. He was endorsed by the mayor, Zoran Mamdani, and he has easily defeated Dan Goldman, a 2-term incumbent in the Democratic primary. Goldman becomes the 5th incumbent member of the House this year to lose in a primary. And again, the result is emphatic, overwhelming, and early here. So we have a member of Congress who's gone down in the 10th district. We've got one up here in the 13th congressional district who is in a barn burner right now against, again, a candidate endorsed by Zoran Mamdani running from the left. Up here, and we've got a candidate in Maryland's 6th congressional district. We've got an incumbent Democrat there. We got numbers there?
Yeah.
We got numbers in the 6th, who's also in some trouble, but let's see if that just got resolved. What happened?
We just got votes from Allegheny was the biggest batch. We got 400 votes there. And Trone wins that batch 171 to 141, I think. It's okay. It's 43-35 in the.
Do we have any from Frederick or any from Montgomery?
No. Okay. Washington and Garrett just also posted small updates.
What was Washington?
Washington was Trone barely ekes out that batch as well. It's 44-40.
So it's right on the number. Okay, so very limited indications, but especially that Washington number, no different. It needs to be different for Trone, but we're going to withhold judgment until we see something from the 2 biggies here, Frederick or Montgomery. It needs to be different than Trone. He got himself in the game in that early vote, but he's going to need more with the election day vote. That initial small batch here, don't read too much into it, but it's not nothing. Doesn't show him making a shift, but he can. If something's different in Frederick or Montgomery, that could be all he needs. But again, so we've got some suspense for an incumbent down there in Maryland 6, and we've got a ton of suspense for this incumbent, Adriano Espaillat, in the 13th district. Again, the hope here, if you're Espaillat, is that your voters, again, I said, he's relying on sort of the traditional Democratic political infrastructure in this district. What could that mean? In part, getting out the vote on election day. You know, I think the Avila Chevalier, we talked about this, like with the parallel to how AOC won her primary back in 2018, the idea that she's got sort of, in some cases, newcomers to the district, folks who are very engaged sort of in progressive politics, showed up in the early voting, whereas Espaillat maybe, we saw this where in some of New York City in 2025, where we had that initial batch that Mamdani did very well in the mayor's race in the primary last year, the election day vote, where we had some places where he struggled a bit, and then there's that third thing, that late arriving vote by mail, where again, he picked it up big time. So this is sort of the opportunity. The votes that come in now are the opportunity. Espaillat's got to do better in them. He's got to build a bit of a pad, because I think the late arriving vote by mail could easily go against him here. So that's the question. You were saying something.
Yeah, we got our first update in 21, if you want to take a look.
Okay, yeah, let's go up. The North Country, folks. Let's not forget the North Country. Let me show you the county lines right here. And we've got from one county, Warren County right here, Constantino leading small. And again, this will be early vote in Warren County. Small, again, there's no single sort of huge population center in this district. But again, the dynamic here is that Constantino is running with the backing of President Trump. This is where Glens Falls, Queensbury is. Okay. What is it? This is probably going to be 10% of the vote in the district tonight. Constantino leading in the initial batch right there. We've also got Schoharie County here. Again, Constantino, look at this now in two different places,
Steve,
in the district.
If you want to go back to 13, I do have an update in New York. We got another 3,800 votes out of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Espaillat 45, Avila Chevalier at 51.
That's an election day update.
Batch, yes.
And how many votes was that?
3,800. In that batch also came about 1,000 votes out of the Bronx.
And
Espaillat wins that 63-32.
63-32, 1,000 votes out of the Bronx. So we're not seeing, and give me the Manhattan number you just got again.
That was about 3,800 votes.
Right.
She barely ekes it out she gets 51% of that.
That's higher than her current number.
I should also note that, another batch also came in with in the 12. And so we're about 7,300 votes there. Boris has won both of the new election day batches. He gets about 38% of.
He got 38. And what did Lasher get?
He gets 33%.
Well, now, whoa. Okay, that's okay. You've just told me you told me very significant thing there, and we'll get to 13 in a second. We said that Lasher had given himself with that early vote, had given himself a little bit of a pad there. It was a good number for him. But we're raising that question of, does the election day vote look different than the same day vote? You're telling me the election day vote here is looking a little bit different. So say again how many election day votes we've gotten out of the 12th district?
So it's about 7,300.
And it broke 38-34 for Boris?
About 38-33.
What's the what is our expected remaining vote in the 12th district?
63,000.
Okay, so if Boris were to beat Lasher by 5 points, which is what he's currently winning the election day vote, and there are 63,000 votes, that would be about 31. That would not, at this pace, these are big ifs here, but this is just to give you a sense of it. At this pace, he would knock off 3150 of 3540. So Boris is, what he's getting so far, what Adam has just told us from the election day vote here, right now, Boris is getting the kind of number that absolutely puts it makes it plausible that he could catch Lasher. Plausible. That's what we say. We're saying, we keep asking this question in these races. A candidate is behind in that early vote. Do you get some indication that the election day vote's more favorable to him? We are getting indications that the election day vote may be more favorable to Boris than the early vote. If he continues to win the election day vote by 5 points, and there are as many election day votes remaining to be counted in this district as we think, it puts him absolutely in the mix right here. And again, remember, there's that third piece, the late arriving vote by mail. You got more, Adam. What is it?
Yeah, well, we also have update at New York 7. We've gotten quite a few updates here in Kings and Queens County. So I just can pick through the most recent one. Queens County, we got 1,400 votes Valdez gets 62% of that batch.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to. Oh wait, shouldn't this be in our? Why don't we have Queens
It should
County
be.
numbers?
Maybe try clicking out into a different race and clicking back
Okay,
in.
I want to make sure folks see
There
this.
you go.
With the counties up. Okay, we're having some glitch here where we're not seeing it.
Yeah. So we'll stick on the overall results.
Yeah. So, but tell me this for context.
Yeah.
What is the Queens? You're saying Queens. What was the early vote in Queens, and what is the election day vote?
So it was the early vote was Valdez 65%, Reynoso 20% in Queens.
So she won it by 45, right?
Yep.
And then the election day vote's breaking how?
62-23 for Valdez.
39. Yeah. So it's a little bit less, but not to the degree Reynoso needs.
And
Got
then
some in Brooklyn?
Yeah, we also got the Brooklyn update.
Uh-huh.
So that was Reynoso had carried that first batch 50-46.
He won it by 4, right?
And now she won this first election day vote at 60-36.
Oh, she's crushing it in the election day vote. So okay, well those are wow. So if you're Valdez, these are not only did you get a very encouraging number with that early vote right there, you're not slipping. There's no sign of meaningful slip. In fact, there's a sign of new strength for. I think what Adam just read just went in. You just saw Valdez's number shoot up right there. Yeah, if you're Valdez, you are feeling fantastic about the world right now because again, you did great in the early vote, but you're also improving in the election day vote. You're not slipping up here. We've got more up here.
Yeah, we did get another update up there.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, so we got New York, which is Manhattan.
Yep.
So 6,300 votes in this district.
Looks like it was good for her.
Yeah, she wins 52-43 in that most recent in the Manhattan vote.
Wow. And we get any more Bronx?
There was a little bit more Bronx. There was about 1,100. SBI wins that.
Hey, y'all gonna have to get off Julie Wan. Y'all gonna have to get off Julie Wan. Like Oscar Romero Jr. ain't sitting right there at 3.8%. Come on. Like Oscar Romero ain't sitting there at 3.8%. And shout out to Steve Kornacki for keeping 3 on the screen. I appreciate that. In my world, we make it even smaller and we go all the way down. We're gonna get to 100. We're gonna get to 100. I don't care if they minus 1. I don't care if they minus 1%. We getting to 100 in my world. And y'all gonna leave my man Adam alone. Talking about a comb over, and I didn't know what y'all was talking about. Y'all gonna leave my man Adam alone. This is not his job to be on TV. He's the stats guy. They just asked my man at the last minute, hey, can you be on with Steve Kornacki? He like, if y'all would have told me that, I would have went to the barber. Well, let me run to my car real quick and get a hat. Now we on right now? And he did it for the love. He did it for the love, okay? He did it for you and me. That's why he decided that he decided he was going to go on camera without going to his car. And y'all got jokes. Y'all wrong, man. Y'all ain't right. Y'all ain't right. I will say this. There's been a lot of comment about the progressive movement in New York, and I'm definitely noticing that as well. I see there about the Mamdani effect in action. The one thing I would say about that, this is New York. So this is New York. Now, this is movement. This is a shift. This is no doubt a shift. OK, I'm not disregarding the shift. What I'm saying is I don't know that we can make it. I don't know that we can make it a national shift. Like this is what's happening in New York right now. So let's Jen, come on. Hey, he gonna have some free time. He gonna have some free time. So, hey, Jen, now is the time to shoot your shot. Because he probably gonna be down in the dumps. So, matter of fact, if you find him on social media and you ask him, hey, I'm looking to vote, where can I vote for you? He probably will respond. So there you go. I'm just here. I'm so immature. I'm just here. I'm just here for the people on the bottom. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the people on the bottom. Hey, Kiki, we got it over at the People's Get Up, thepeoplesgetup.com. We got it. Matter of fact, let me refresh you guys on the code for today. Is Draft Night 623. Draft Night 623 is the code for today over at thepeoplesgetup.com. That's buy one, get one 40% off. So there you go. There you go. All right. Don't scroll down. Y'all are so funny. And we got a green one too. Matter of fact, I'll have the green one on in tomorrow's video. At least the video I assumed I was going to put out tomorrow. Y'all got me thinking about trying to record something real quick, but nah, I'm gonna put out hey, Auntie Melanie. Hey, Auntie Melanie, one of the OGs. Nah, I'm putting out my reflecting pool video tomorrow. And if you were a part of that brainstorm session, I'm gonna try and find a way to get that in there. If you were a part of that brainstorm session that we had earlier, I'm gonna run back through all the stuff that y'all had to say before we leave. Shout out to the Mod Squad coming through. Shout out to y'all.
Lasher.
It also gives us an update in the
13th. What do we got?
It's about 7,000 votes.
I can already see it helps the
district.
Chevalier. What
Yep.
from New York?
She gets 5244 out of the Manhattan.
She got 5244 in that update.
Yes.
Okay. Anything in the Bronx there?
Yeah, 700 new votes. He gets 60, and she gets 32.
Okay. So I mean, these things are, she's winning updates. She's getting about 52 in these updates. That number could come up a little, not huge here, but she's not losing ground. She's not losing ground. And you continue to see Esbiat. We're at about, just seeing the 52%, 56%. So the lead for Chevalier now moves up to, that's over a point. It's just under 500 votes. That's over a point, 1.2 points there district-wide. And again, could you, I know you're balancing a bunch of things there, Adam, but you had that, I think this would be important for people, the post-election night numbers from 2025 for Manhattan and the Bronx.
Yeah.
I think this comes into play here because remember, folks, remember what we saw in.
Shout out to Croyville. Much appreciated. And Lori said, I'm not for the people on the bottom. I am for the people on the bottom. Matter of fact, I have some positivity for my man Oscar because when they go to the different jurisdictions, the numbers fly around with all the different people. But Oscar was at 3-something% in all the different jurisdictions. He stayed at 3. That's the consistency. That's what I'm talking about. Said, when are you going to put out some Who Raised Y'all t-shirts? Who Raised Y'all t-shirts been out? Dad Plays. Who Raised Y'all t-shirts been out? Matter of fact, we got a couple different designs of Who Raised Y'all t-shirts. We got these Who Raised Y'all. We got this design, and we got the diagonal design. So yeah, go hit up the peoplesgetup.com. You'll find what you're looking for, and make sure you send us a photo at admin@reesewaters.com. Make sure you send us something. All right, we're gonna let Steve get a couple more minutes in, and then I'll take us out because we got to go through all these green references before we leave. So
And wow, I mean, this is okay. Fulton County, you're getting into Smollen's base right here, and he's winning there. But look geographically, again, this is such a wide district. Oneida, right? Lewis Small, Franklin, okay, Malone, New York is here. Clinton County, this is where Plattsburgh is. Okay, you can go down, we said Warren County, Washington County. I mean, these are, Constantino. Just this is sort of Smollen's area right here. This is sort of the area that he represents in the state legislature. He's got a lead there, but everywhere else you're seeing that Constantino color. President Trump's endorsed candidate here, opening up a very clear and geographically expansive lead here over Smollen in this vote count. This was a real interesting test. This is a real interesting test because, again, Smollen was endorsed sort of up and down by the local and sort of New York political leadership in this district. Again, it has a sort of conventional background here, military veteran, state legislator. The congressional seat opens up. You get the party's endorsement. You go for it. But Trump came in here and endorsed Constantino. Constantino is a former boxer. He owns that sticker company. He made some news putting up Trump mentioned this in a tweet.
That was a good question that Lil Rose had about Goldman. And I should actually re-highlight that. Dan Goldman got packed up and he thought he was going to make it to the end of my live. Dan Goldman thought he was going to make it to the end of my live. He thought he was slick. He said, New York polls don't close till 9. So I only need to make it a half hour and I can make it to the end of Reese Waters live. And my man got packed up at 9:07. My man got packed up at 9:07. That's the worst incumbent performance since Nancy Mace. Since Nancy Mace, it was Nancy Mace. It was Dan Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw got packed up early too. Hey, they made them show up. They made them show up on election night with all their things. That's how fast. They said, "Hey, you want to give a concession speech? All right, well, but if you want to give a concession speech, you gotta pack your stuff up. Then you can't give a speech because ain't no squatting in the office. You got to pack your stuff up." They got Dan Crenshaw out of there. They're not Dan Crenshaw. They got Goldstein out of there at 9:07. Boy, how you don't make it to the end of my live? And boy, that's bad. That's bad. That's down there with Nancy Mace. I guess Nancy Mace is actually I don't know what's worse because Nancy Mace was in like 5th place. But then Nancy Mace was running for governor. She wasn't running for her old seat. She was running for governor. So she was more aspirational. You get packed up in your own seat. I don't know. And at 9:07, at 7 minutes after the polls in 7 minutes after the polls closed in South Carolina, Nancy Mace hadn't been taken off the screen yet, even though she was in 5th place. So I don't know. I think Nancy got you. Honestly, I think Nancy got you. I think Dan was worse. That's my opinion. So y'all let me know what y'all think.
And okay, this is the most significant. Putnam, we got the most vote out of Putnam. Conley, easy lead here. That's a big chunk of the vote. Dutchess County, we got. Is it just the margin though that you're seeing? You see it now in 2 counties, really solid. Rockland, this is Davidson's base. Rockland County legislator. It's not a ton of vote, but she's not. This is, if you're Conley, this is great. What, Adam?
We just put in a call as well in one of the races we were tracking earlier, Maryland 5.
Maryland 5, there it is. Adrian Boafo, NBC News, is declaring will win the Democratic primary in Maryland's 5th congressional district. This is a race that attracted nearly 24 candidates. Why? Because Steny Hoyer, the 45-year incumbent not seeking re-election, he endorsed Boafo, a state delegate. Boafo wins that overwhelmingly Democratic district. He's the overwhelming favorite in November. Where?
Frederick in Maryland 6 is our first election day vote.
Great.
It's only about 300 votes.
What is
It's
it?
a small batch. Trone gets 37%. McLean Delaney gets 31% in that 344 vote.
What, Goldstein got it? What happened? Somebody jumped up.
Yeah, 21% for Goldstein.
So Goldstein's the one moving up in the election day vote. A distant third place. Okay. How many votes was this?
344.
Wait, let me make sure I wasn't prepared for that. 37 for Trone,
Yep.
31 for Delaney.
Yes.
He's beating her by 6 points with the third candidate. What's our expected remaining vote in Frederick County?
Frederick, 15,000 remaining.
So if Trone were to, if this were to hold, this is a relatively small number. I just want to get a sense of what this could mean if it looked anything like this. 15,000 remaining votes. This would, if he continues to win it at a 6-point rate, he would shave about 800 votes off of McLean Delaney's. He would get about 800 more votes than McLean Delaney, and he's trailing by 700. So that's interesting. That's interesting. It's not that Trone jumped up there. It's that Delaney fell down and Goldstein got a huge number. Again, I don't want to overstate it because you're saying this is only a couple hundred votes.
That's right.
Okay. This is the first time we've got, you know what we've been talking about here. We wanted to see if the election day vote was different. Delaney, had a tentative good position there. We've now seen something that's significant.
Okay, and the whole time we've been doing primaries, we have never seen anybody come from under the screen to be competitive. That has not happened. Nobody has come from the Oscar slot. Nobody has come from the Oscar, Julie Wan, Nancy May slot to be competitive. Come on, Goldstein. Come on, Goldstein. Hey, I don't know which politics are. I don't know which politics are. They might be trash. I don't know. I don't know which politics are. I just want to see somebody come from under the screen to be competitive. That's all I want. Just so I have a reason to tell, future generations when we're watching elections, and I say, oh no, keep watching. No, keep watching. Don't turn it off. No. Hey, in 2026, I saw Goldstein come from under the screen. She rose all the way up. Make it happen. Come on now. Come on now, Goldstein, because it ain't gonna be Oscar. It ain't gonna be Oscar. They had 70%. And also, too, I don't like the way that they wait to do a check. Can we get some X's? Why they don't do X's? Oscar should have an X right now. That's why they can't put me in charge. That's why they can't put me in charge. If I was in charge, then when they did the South Carolina primary, Nancy Mace would have had an X for like 2 hours. Because she was out of it the whole time. They were just trying to figure out who the top two were to go to the runoff. She would have had an X on her face for 2 hours. And think of the entertainment. For 2 hours, people would have turned to CNN or NBC News to see what's going on in South Carolina. And they would have seen Nancy Mace with an X on her face. Did you see Nancy Mace said some bull again today? She not through. I don't remember who she attacked. It was probably Muslims. She said some bull again today. She ain't done. She going out sad, man. Every time I think, maybe some compassion is needed here for her journey, she go do some bull. And I'm like, nah, it ain't. Nah, it ain't. No. She had the year she deserves. She definitely had the year she deserves. All right. We'll wait to get an answer on what's going on in New York. Here with Steve Kornacki. I'll keep that there in the background for now. I did mention the discount code one more time. Is Draft Night 623 over at thepeoplesgetup.com. So you guys make sure you check that out. I do have a bit of an update for those of you that are members. You might recall a rant that I did about a video that got demonetized because of a BS claim. And at the end of that video, I said, well, at least the videos that have followed have done well, like the Michelle Obama video. I'll have an update on that. Don't worry. They say all's well that ends well. It did not end well. It did not end well. And needless to say, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for all you guys. Definitely very grateful for the love and support. Special shout out to all of the members who give me a reason to feel some semblance of security in this crazy YouTube world where they do bull all the time. Like all the time. It's always some nonsense. So it's some more drama with that. Stay tuned. I'll have a rant about that. I did want to give a shout out to, he may not be here, but Unafraid Jay had a comment. I believe this was in the video I posted yesterday in response to Carmelo Anthony and Officer Tatum. And he had a comment where he said, did he say not making a hero out of a thug and a criminal with a MAGA hat in the background? And he was referencing Officer Tatum commenting on black people, saying that we make heroes out of thugs and criminals, and referencing the fact that he had a MAGA hat in the background as he did that. And I wanted to highlight that comment just because it really synthesizes so much of what I try to communicate and the reasons why I find it necessary to jump in and clap back whenever there's any sort of push or movement in these anti-black narratives, whether it be DEI, whether it be black fatigue, whatever the case may be, because whenever you have a moving goalpost for how you adjudicate various standards of behavior and various groups with respect to a standard of behavior, then your conclusions aren't meaningful. And if you want to tell me that you want to completely disregard the record of the man who sits in the White House, completely ignore the people surrounding him who he has allowed to get away with God knows what, but then apply a completely different standard to a group of people who not only don't have the relationships and the connections to get that kind of reprieve, but generally are moving with a level of desperation that drives their behavior as opposed to the sheer greed that drives yours. Those motivations aren't the same, but somehow when it's driven out of greed, it's not seen to be nearly as destructive. Free to be greedy, but never to be desperate. I love that comment so much. And shout out to Unafraid Jay for making that comment. And I think what Trump has done to my view of the criminal justice system, I don't know if it'll be repaired, because I just saw a case of, there was like some influencers, some black influencers that just got arrested for fraud and got a bunch of jail. I don't remember I didn't know who they were. I had not heard of them, but they just got arrested for some sort of financial scheme and got a bunch of jail. And my immediate reaction to that is, how am I supposed to view that? I think they had stolen like $10 million or something like that. And I was like, well, it's a shame, because if they would have got up to, the $50 million, $100 million mark, to the point where they rub elbows with these true scammers, they could be home right now. You know what I mean? I think what he has done to our view, to my view, I can't say anybody, to my view of the criminal justice system is just crazy, because when you let people get away with the kinds of things that he has let people get away with, and actively do the kinds of things that you're actively doing, and influence the number of people that you are influencing, how am I supposed to, I can't, that reality is not jibing with just basic crime and punishment. Even today, when I recorded a video about the reflecting pool, and the fact that they're trying to trump up charges on people for putting their hand in the water, and you balance that with J6. We blanket pardon J6, and they want to press people for putting their hand in the reflecting pool. That's what I'm saying. Like, what he has done, and I know that part of his motivation is to completely destroy the faith that we have in our institutions. And unfortunately, I hate for him to be successful in any endeavor, but I can't argue with that one. I can't argue with that one. When you put your people in charge, that faith be gone. That faith be gone. And shout out to Unafraid Jay. I see you in the comments there. Shout out to you. One more thing. It's just a rant that I have right now. I might make a video about it at some point, but I'm a little bit confused, right? So I did a members video about the Knicks and James Dolan accepting. Oh, no, that was in a regular video. I talked about James Dolan accepting the invite to the White House and what the Knicks were going to do and all that. Now, help me with something, because I'm for any kind of organization and constructive action, pushing towards goals or reflecting anger and frustration we've been unable to push out in any other way, right? I'm for that. But help me. We had so much smoke for the businesses that eliminated their DEI policies. But deciding to actively and directly buddy up to the man whose administration has wrought not only the anti-DEI policy, but so many other extremely destructive forces on the American public, is so far beyond getting rid of the DEI policy. So far beyond getting rid of the DEI policy. And I can't for the life of me figure out how there's no smoke. And I don't want to say there's no smoke, because there's smoke, but the smoke is mostly like you ran the Knicks into the ground, which now that he won the championship, he don't got to deal with that no more. Explain that to me. Explain that to me, please. Somebody. So if you get rid of the DEI policy, you got to deal with a whole boycott. But you could be legitimate boys with the man, excuse all that he did, inconvenience all of your customer base and fans by prioritizing your relationship with him, knowing how they feel about him, and that's fine. Somebody, please, somebody tell me something. And then not quite to that extent, right? You have the people who have been sponsoring and underwriting all of this. So in that video that I did about Freedom 250, I talked about, there was a video in there with a woman who talked about the sponsors and holding the sponsors accountable, who allowed this commercial enterprise to take place in the people's house, streamed on an app that you have to pay for. That to me is far beyond getting rid of your DEI policy. Because this is the thing. The DEI policy is something that they made federal law. You would love for people to push back like Costco did and stand on business and deal with the repercussions. Lift Costco up all day long. But these other businesses that got the smoke at least have the cover of following federal law. Should they have handled it the way they handled it? Probably not. Not if they ended up getting them boycotted. But it wasn't no federal law that said you got to sponsor Freedom 250. It wasn't no federal law that said you got to bring this man into the Garden for Game 3 and put all your ain't no federal law that said that. Y'all chose to do that. Y'all chose to do that. But somehow that's fine. Help me. Help me. Help me. And then you have, it's so funny that it's the draft tonight because we going to stay on it. Like, I remember watching basketball content, sports content, talking about Cooper Flag and the Luka Doncic trade and what the Dallas Mavericks were going to do. And they kept talking about their new ownership, the Adelson family. And I'm like, I know that name. I'm like, why I know them? I'm like, wow, the Adelson family. Whatever. I keep it moving. Time went by. More Dallas Maverick stuff. The Adelson family. One day I'm watching a thing. Well, Mavs owner Miriam Adelson Wait a minute. Hold up. You mean to tell me that the same lady that they are saying is the money bags behind Trump's whole campaign alongside Elon Musk is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks and don't nobody say nothing? Don't nobody say nothing. So let me get this straight. And by the way, Target, settle down, because none of this is a defense of y'all at all. This ain't even about y'all. This is my point. So we had all that smoke for Target, but none for the ladies' businesses that are responsible for underwriting the entire campaign. What? That's crazy. That's crazy. Somebody make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense. All right, I had to get that out. That's just been driving me crazy. Yeah, somebody said only in America. That been driving me crazy. And early said, what did I miss? I had to check on my food. You missed me losing my voice. You missed me losing my voice. That's what you missed. Proud Texas liberal. Hello from Texas. Don't hate me, but I really like Dan Goldman. And he had a good 7 minutes there. You know what I mean? He looked competitive. That first 5 minutes, he was looking, you know what I mean? He gave him a good one too. That first 4 or 5 minutes, he gave him a good one. He had like 2 rounds in him. That third round was tough, though. Wow, good night, Reese. Queens. Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate you. Thank you. You have to be human to break the law. We know only humans on the planet. Clear complexion. That's a bit. Yeah. I can't say. I don't think anybody's technically clear, but I appreciate you for that. On a channel note, I did want to mention to you guys that I saw a couple comments asking about Miss Ray, and shout out to her. Unfortunately, Miss Ray will not be operating as head moderator of the channel. Fortunately, she had to go do her own thing. So shout out to her. No drama or no static. Definitely wishing her the best. But just so you guys know, she will not be operating as head moderator. So shout out to the moderators that we have here right now. I think we got Deshauna and Lovely Nola and Kristen in the chat right now. Credit to y'all. I'll be trying to pick up a little bit of extra slack and doing a little bit of extra moderating. And of course, we're always taking volunteers, but I'll let you guys know about that when that process begins. But I do want to give a shout out to not only the moderators right now, but I want to give a shout out to the research squad that's been absolutely killing it. Shout out to y'all. They've allowed me to accelerate a lot of the production headed by Regina. So credit to her and everybody on the research squad. I would name names, but I don't want to forget anybody. So shout out to everybody on the research squad. As well as all the editors. We got a couple of new editors too. So between the research squad humming and the editors humming, you know what I mean? We really doing some things, as long as, you know, I can effectively and efficiently take the research and churn it out into an actual video. So I gotta do better at that, and hopefully I will have an opportunity to make that process as smooth as I possibly can. All right, the video tomorrow that you guys can look forward to is going to likely be the one about the reflecting pool, which is funny. I've already recorded it. I had a lot of fun doing it, but let me get to the brainstorm that we had earlier today and see if you guys had anything else that we needed to reference, because I'm going to try and put this in the video. And shout out, thank you. I got a lot of comments on my free-ish t-shirt. You can get that over at thepeoplesgetup.com. Matter of fact, we got the other version of it as well. I wore this for the reflecting pool video because I said, hey, Trump, I asked him what color to make my free-ish t-shirts, and I said I wanted reflecting pool green. So this is why I wore this is why I wore this t-shirt. So you can check that one out tomorrow. I think we got a yellow one as well. So make sure you send your photos to admin@reesewaters.com. Shout out to y'all. All right, here's what we got. Here's what we got for green things. All right, we got green lime jello. We got Godzilla's pull-up, Dubai chocolate, Jolly Green Pool, the Mucinex guy, pistachio cream, the Green Hornet, the Green Ranger, Green Jolly Rancher, Trump's bathroom, dumpster juice, Toxic Crusaders, Yoda's outhouse, Slimer from Ghostbusters, Ecto Cooler, Key Lime Pie, an Irish pub floor, Gang Green, Gastric Green, the Supersonics, and Sonic's Revenge. That was in addition to the ones that I had already put out: the Hulk, Kermit, Kryptonite, the Grinch, Wicked Witch of the West, Emerald City, the Green Monster, Statue of Liberty, the Master's Green Jacket, The Color of Money, Gas Station Bathroom, Swamp Thing, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shrek, Matcha, Broccoli Cheddar Soup, Gazpacho, Mountain Dew, and Shamrock Shake. Anything else y'all want to get in at the buzzer? Oh, they all getting in. They all getting in. I'm just saying, is there anything else you want to? Now, Jay, why would you put something like that on there? You know that hand purple. You know that hand purple. Come on, Jay. Come on, man. 70s hotel wallpaper. That's pretty funny. We did get a lot of absinthe. We have gotten a lot of absinthe. Wait, did we get multiple 70s hotel wallpaper? Or are you just referencing? I'm sorry. That's the single funniest word in the English language. I'm sorry. I thought only me and my and the kids that I grew up with used Dookie. I thought only PG County kids in the 80s and the 90s used Dookie. I thought that was it. You had to be in PG County in the 80s and the 90s. We the only ones that used Dookie, because I grew up and I never heard Dookie after that. Occasionally now, as I go about life, I run into Dookie, and it always just, you know what I mean? It's like mother's milk. It just like, occasionally I run into the word Dookie, and it just like, you know, it takes me back. It really takes me back. Green Envy, that's pretty good. Sleepy Green. Huh. Soylent Green. Oh, that's a good one. Soylent Green. Plastic couch cover. With a stain. Moldy bread. Collard cream water. I just had an idea. 80s baby, and we use Dookie. Yeah, that's so maybe it was 80s babies everywhere use Dookie. Yeah, I remember the Green Day album cut. Yep, I remember that. Yep. Let's see. 70 Mark V Continental Green. We use it as kiddos in Alabama, and they say, y'all use, I like how we talk about Dookie. Green Acres. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Because it's going to be fun. We just going to record this. Matter of fact, I'm going to show comments on stage. So I'm gonna try and get my man Denzel to actually use this. So if you guys just want to, have your comments keep it clean on there. I shouldn't have said that. Now y'all gonna tweet nonsense. I can't do it. I was gonna try and record and put y'all on the screen, but y'all gonna spam Dookie. Y'all just gonna spam Dookie, and people gonna be watching the video like, is that what his lives be? Is that what his live? No, because he always inviting people to the lives, and apparently you just put Dookie in it. Okay, I gotta take the comments off screen. All right, and by the way, we were not finished because all the people in my chat Had some more for you, Trump. How about this? Lime green jello. You want to talk about Godzilla's pull-up? How about Dubai chocolate? How about the Jolly Green pool? The Mucinex guy. Pistachio cream, the Green Hornet, the Green Ranger, the Green Jolly Rancher, Trump's bathroom, dumpster juice, Toxic Crusaders, Yoda's outhouse, Ecto Cooler, Slimer from Ghostbusters, Key Lime Pie, an Irish Pub 4, Gang Green, Gastric Green, the Seattle Supersonics, Sonic's Revenge, Soylent Green, a stain on a plastic couch cover, moldy bread, and last but not least, collard green water. These are just some suggestions from the people on what you were going for when you landed at that shade of green for the people's reflecting pool. You're welcome. There we go. Hey, so glad we could do this together. Shout out to y'all. Make sure you guys like the video on the way out. Thanks to KP, Nancy, Dave, Shade, another Dave, Aracelis, Dave circling back a third time. You spinning the block. Lee, Night Watchman, TP, Mo Better Blues, All Muse. Welcome to you too. I don't think I got a chance to shout out Mo Better Blues and All Muse when I think we were watching the election stuff. Welcome to both of you. Proud Texas Liberal, Nikki and Jamise. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to Deshauna, lovely Nola, as well as Kristen for being our fantastic mods. You guys got the code. I'll see you guys tomorrow for tomorrow's video. And of course, if you see anybody talking trash in the street, just make sure to tell them I have daughters. And soak your feet.